Back in 1988, Ghostbusters star Bill Murray once again faced off with some ghosts, but this time the ghosts of Christmas past, present and future, in a comedic retelling of the classic Charles Dickens story, A Christmas Carol. Full of dark humour as well as bags of charm, Scrooge still stands tall to this day among many people's favourite Christmas movies.
Oh, who's that? She's pretty.
She's dead, Frank. Apparently this 80-year-old grandmother was watching your Scrooge promo last night and she just keeled over. It scared her to death.
This is terrific! I knew that had worked!
Hey everyone, I'm Jim and welcome back to My Movie Obsession, a place of film obsessives. I hope you all had a great Christmas everyone, and while we're still in the holiday spirit, I thought I'd take an in-depth look at one of my favourite Christmas movies starring that sarcastic bastard we all know and love, Bill Murray. It's time for my look at 1988's Scrooged.
Following the amazing success of 1984's Ghostbusters, Bill Murray had taken a 4-year break from acting, saying the Ghostbusters' success had made him feel overwhelmed, and the failure of his 1984 picture The Razor's Edge had caused him to feel jaded about the industry. Murray was teased back to acting by the Scrooge script, stating that he found the idea of making a funny version of Scrooge creatively appealing. Murray also picked up $6 million for the role of heartless television president Frank Cross. The production was bumpy as both Murray and director Richard Donner had different visions for what the film should be. Murray himself described his time on the film as one of misery, while Donner called Murray superbly creative but occasionally difficult.
I have to kill all of you!
Murray wanted several changes to the script once he joined the project. Among other changes, he wanted the romantic plot with Karen Allen's Claire to be expanded, and the family scenes were reworked as Murray felt they were a bit off. Even in the end, Murray was ultimately not a fan of the finished product, calling it long and sloppy.
It sucks when an actor from a movie you love hates the movie, but it's Bill Murray, so you gotta forgive him. It's Bill Murray. I mean, I'm fine with him not liking it. It's not like I've woken up from dreams in the middle of the night of tying Bill Murray to a chair, forcing him to watch the film until he loves it. I mean, it's not like that at all.
The film's tagline was, Bill Murray is back among the ghosts, only this time it's 3 against 1. So even though Bill was trying to get away from Ghostbusters, it was still looming over this film. But to be honest, there are plenty of worse movies to be linked to Bill, so why not just celebrate being linked to an amazing one? Cheer up, mate.
Get out of here!
As for the ghosts in the movie, Carol Kane was cast as the ghost of Christmas Present, and she is one of the highlights of the film, as the writers decided to make her absolutely psycho. She spends half the movie beating the shit out of Bill Murray. Kane said, I hit Bill Murray with a toaster and with my wings, and I kicked him in areas that weren't pleasant for him. I had fun. I don't think it was as fun for Bill because he was the victim.
No wonder Bill Murray doesn't look back on this movie fondly. He was getting his ass kicked the whole time. What are you doing, Carol Kane?
Comedian Sam Kinison was considered for the role of the Ghost of Christmas Past before it went to musician David Johansen. Screen legend Robert Mitchum cameos as Frank's boss, Preston Rhinelander. Originally the actor was not interested in the small role, but Richard Donner asked him to meet with Bill Murray, who convinced him to take the part. Good old Danny Elfman, the king of dark adventure scores, produced the music for the film, offering us once again a memorable piece that perfectly sets the tone for the movie. Scrooge was released on November 23rd, 1988 and ended up earning $60.3 million during its theatrical run in the US, making it the 13th highest grossing film of 1988 and a moderate box office hit. The film received a positive response from test audiences, but was met with a mixed response on its release by critics who found the film too mean-spirited. It was in fact nominated for a single Academy Award for Best Makeup and Hairstyling, but lost out to fellow dark comedy Beetlejuice.
You bunch of losers!
Scrooged is quite literally Bill Murray on acid. I'm not even joking, this is the most Bill Murray has ever been. Casting him as a truly horrible, selfish person with a dry and sarcastic sense of humour allows Bill Murray to scene chew as much as he ever has before.
I'm pretty sure Richard Donner's sole instructions for Bill Murray were just, Bill, just be a dick. Be a dick. Be a dickhead. That's your motivation. I'm going for the dickhead on this one. Dickhead. Be a dick.
Think of Peter from Ghostbusters, but even more sarcastic and no redeeming qualities and thousands of dollars in the bank. Then you get Frank in Scrooged. Strangely enough though, despite him being truly unlikable, you can't help but laugh at him, as Bill Murray has this uncanny ability to make meanness funny. I think it's because he just goes so over the top with it. You're so shocked at how he treats people, you're almost laughing just in a state of amazement. Bill Murray was literally a savage before being a savage was cool. There's so many moments in this film where Murray's mean actions literally have me falling around laughing. I just can't help it.
You little worm. Who are you? How'd you get in here? Well, maybe you'll answer some questions downtown, huh, my friend?
What the hell is going on? This is my little boy.
All right, you beat him.
What a dick.
By the same token, Murray is also an actor with the ability to be very charming when he needs to be. If he was just sarcastic Bill Murray and great at being mean, and he couldn't pull off Frank's resolution and regret at the end, the movie wouldn't work for sure. But of course, Murray displays the great actor that he is by being as charming as any other Scrooge ever. The scenes in which he and the Ghost of Christmas Past witnessed his past relationship with his old girlfriend, the only person to ever bring kindness out of him, Murray perfectly displays the internal pain going on inside of Frank, and a sense of melancholy he translates to the audience. Whenever he locks eyes with this woman too, you can see the good person inside that is locked away. He perfectly displays how much Frank deep down wants to love this woman. Of course, the ending speech by Frank is the perfect example of Murray being so convincing in the heartwarming moments. Murray delivers this scene in such a nice and welcoming way, and you really do feel full of the Christmas cheer and genuine love and kindness at the end of it. I think there are a few actors who can pull off being a complete dick and then incredibly touching, but Murray is certainly one of them.
That ending speech could melt anyone's heart.
I thought it was the worst pile of blubbery schoolgirl mush I've ever been compelled to endure.
The ghosts are a blast in this version too. The Ghost of Christmas Past is actually played by a member of influential 70s punk band the New York Dolls, David Johansen. He is great to watch. He's just a wild maniac who has a lot of chemistry with Bill Murray. He is certainly competing with him in stealing the scenes. He definitely plays the ghost with a sense of punk rock energy. It's a grimy, sleazy, crazy performance, so maybe his rock and roll days had an influence on the way he played the role. Carol Kane is a riot as the Ghost of Christmas Present. I don't know what compelled the filmmakers to sit there and say, right, Ghost of Christmas Present, how do you want to write her? A mentally unstable woman with the brain of an 8-year-old who is also a physically abusive psychopath who beats Frank after death. Yeah, sounds good. It's so absurd that it ends up working. Carol Kane beats the living shit out of Bill Murray, and it's just so ridiculous, I can't help but love it. In fact, she beats him up so much that Carol actually felt bad during production for beating on Bill so much, as on one occasion she tore the inside of Bill's lip, and Murray himself was outspoken in the fact that Kane actually hit him and beat him for real.
I understand Carol Kane feeling bad for Bill Murray, but running around the set going, oh, I feel so bad for Bill, I keep beating him up. There is a solution to that, Carol. Don't beat him up for real. Stop roughing up Bill Murray. You don't deserve it.
The Ghost of Christmas Future is of course a hooded figure who doesn't speak or engage. He's just there to bring Frank to his wit's end in the final lesson. I like that they didn't decide to make the Ghost of Christmas Future comical too. The filmmakers clearly realised the final ghost had to be true to the ghost we know from other versions, as his silent void-like nature makes the combination of the film all the more meaningful. The only humorous moment with the Ghost of Christmas Future is where Bill Murray opens his cloak and sees this. That is just morbidly hilarious. Frank's actual lesson is not humorous at all, in fact it's quite harrowing and sticks with the tradition of other Scrooge movies. Things get serious when they need to. Before he meets the three ghosts, Frank is of course visited by another ghost who warns him about what is to come. The ghost is played by John Forsyth, and this entire scene is hilarious. It's so crazy and over the top, and to see Frank reacting to an undead corpse walking into his office is some priceless stuff.
1 minute. I'm on the 14th hole at Wingfoot, lining up a putt. A heart attack later, I'm a worm feast.
No. You're not a worm feast. You're an hallucination brought on by alcohol, Russian vodka, poisoned by Chernobyl.
Why do I get the feeling that in today's world, Dan Aykroyd can take the place of John Forsyth's character, and he just keeps walking into Bill Murray's house at night going, You've still got time, you've still got a chance, do Ghostbusters 3. And Bill Murray's just like, you are a hallucination.
When he starts to pour himself a drink as Frank shoots bullets at him, I can't help but find it so entertaining, it's just ludicrous. It looks like The Mask paid tribute to this scene too, with Jim Carrey in 1994 having his beverage leak out of his bullet holes in his body as well. It's an electric performance by John Forsythe and one of several larger than life performances in this movie. Scrooged is ultimately a romantic movie, which is one of the ways that this retelling differs to the traditional tale. In the other Scrooge adaptations, his love is usually one he lost in the past. In this one, he lost her but she is still alive and he slowly realises the great relationship he threw away. Karen Allen plays Frank's ex-partner Claire. In a very pure performance, this woman spends her life helping the homeless, whereas Frank has of course become cutthroat and cold. It's fascinating that whenever Frank sees her, he softens but can never fully convert to her way of thinking. Seems like he wants Claire because she reminds him of when he was a good person in the past, but until the end he doesn't want to fully go back to that person again. He knows he loves Claire, but his ego won't allow him to break his bad habits. Claire is like Frank's gateway into becoming a better person, but he must go through the Scrooge-esque ordeal to fully get there. Karen Allen has a fantastic smile, and her warm performance is really the heart and soul of this movie. This is a dark and daring version of the Dickens story, and I absolutely love it. The movie doesn't pull any punches, there are dark jokes, adult themes and even horror-like elements. I'm not sure why this didn't resonate with a lot of critics, because in my mind, the darker the first half of A Christmas Carol story is, the better, because it's about a man who is nearly completely lost, being brought back to value kindness and compassion. Roger Ebert called the movie unsettling, but surely that's what A Christmas Carol is supposed to be for the majority of it. It's a story of redemption. So wouldn't he expect the movie to be like sunshine and rainbows all the way through?
I mean, I never expected an adaptation of one of Dickens' darkest and most gloomy books, which has been adapted many times with dark and gloomy stories, would be dark and gloomy in moments. I'm unsettled.
For me, Scrooge really works. If you're going to make a comedic Christmas Carol, you have to make jokes out of morbid subjects, you have to use dark humour, and you have to be willing to mix horror with humour and go places not for the prudish. Maybe critics felt we didn't need to see Bill Murray on set talking about nipples, but if you want to drive home the fact that Frank is such a sleazy guy, why not do it in a comedic way?
You can see her nipples.
I want to see her nipples.
But this is a Christmas show.
Well, Charles Dickens would have wanted to see her nipples then.
Scrooge holds 70% on Rotten Tomatoes and ultimately ended up with a mixed response from critics. As I mentioned, Roger Ebert hated the movie, rewarding it 1 star. Empire's William Thomas called it a slick and cynical update of Dickens' tale, but that it is only funny when Murray's character is being a complete bastard. The Washington Post's Joe Brown said that it was a sprawling mess, but that he liked it. Brown said that Scrooge was unlikely to become a seasonal tradition, considering that it would age poorly and either scare or be too adult for child audiences. But since its release, Scrooge has become a cult classic and a Christmas favourite, being regularly shown on TV during the holiday period. Entertainment Weekly's Whitney Pastoret called it an immortal classic and argued it is the most underrated Christmas movie. The Boston Globe's Maura Johnson said that the film was ahead of its time, which allowed it to remain relevant years later, and in 2016 Empire listed Scrooge as the 7th best Christmas film. In 2017 Collider named it the 5th best adaptation of A Christmas Carol, calling it easily the best non-traditional translation of the story. So as it turns out, despite the critics and Bill Murray hating it, we all love the movie. So there.
Then it can happen, then the miracle can happen to you. It's not just the poor and the hungry, it's everybody who's got to have this miracle. And it can happen tonight for all of you. If you believe in this spirit thing, the miracle will happen, and then you'll want it to happen again tomorrow. You won't be one of these bastards who says Christmas is once a year and it's a fraud. It's not. It can happen every day. You just gotta want that feeling. And if you like it and you want it, you'll get greedy for it. You'll want it every day of your life, and it can happen to you. I believe in it now.
So what do you guys think of Scrooged? Is it one of your holiday favourites, or do you agree with the critics that it wasn't all that great at all? Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and please consider subscribing. The main focus of this channel is in-depth reviews on retro movies from the 80s and 90s, as well as superhero movies. So if you're just as obsessed as I am, feel free to subscribe and we can discuss our movie obsession. So thanks for watching everyone, definitely check out Scrooge while we're still in the holiday season, and I will see you guys next time.